Hail, hail, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us. And here we go, man. We are locked and loaded. We are ready to rock ahead of the weekend. And if you've clicked on the video, you've obviously seen the title this weekend at the pre-match press conference. Celts are here. We're invited. Brendan Rodgers told me he is a massive fan of the channel, a massive fan of the content. And because we've been covering the press conferences for the last couple of weeks, they had to have us there in the building for it. And it was a great time. So we did this content for a long time, where on a Friday we would get, the press conference out, we would go through it and talk about the team ahead of the weekend. And, it was fine. I had fun doing it. You guys seemed to enjoy it, but it wasn't like a main kind of part of our weekly kind of schedule, as it were. But we did it like 3 or 4 weeks ago. You guys loved it. And, there was a lot of fireworks were going on. Obviously, the end of the transfer window and everything else. You guys demanded the content stays. It's been going, and you guys have been tuning in and have been loving it. But I think this press conference, having been there in person, is a great example of what normally happens at press conferences. We're finding out a little bit about the team, the aftermath of the game before, and we're trying to piece the puzzle together for where the squad is and all that kind of good stuff. So if you do enjoy this content, this is the stream to hit the like button on. This is the stream to hit subscribe about. And if you're watching this after we've been live especially, this is the stream to leave a comment down below and support the content in any way you can. Negative, positive, anything else in between, thoughts on the content or everything that we're actually going to talk about, the team, the manager, and all that good stuff, because the community we've got here at Celtic here knows their onions and comes here for the tactics, comes here for the latest and greatest of what could be going on and what is going on and all that good stuff. So we're very thankful to everyone that supports the channel, tuning into the live streams, hitting the like button, all that good stuff as well, of course. But for this style, particularly, this is the one that will tell me that you guys like this type of content. And it's not just because we were drama llamas a few weeks ago with the transfer window and everything as well. So sincerely, for this one, if you do enjoy the video, especially, this is the one to really support it with some comments and some likes and all that good stuff. And for everyone that does support Celtic here, not just on YouTube and Facebook and all that good stuff, but on Substack as well, massive shout out to you guys who get all the content that comes out here on YouTube with no adverts on it. I know adverts can be a pain in the bum for some people. If you have YouTube Premium, it doesn't really matter, actually. And also get all the articles and all the exclusive kind of breaking news that the site gets a hold of, thanks to all the journalists and all the in the know accounts and links and all that journalistic stuff that Celtic here are right tapped into. So thanks to all the Substack subscribers. If you want to become a Substack subscriber as well, you'll find the link on, I'll add it into this video so it's not there right now, but it's, I think, £4 a month, £1 a week, an absolute bargain. And if you do want to support the content, that's a fantastic way of doing so. And a massive shout out and thanks again to everyone that does, of course. But yeah, as I get comfy and I can breathe now that I've kind of set you up for what is going to be the stream ahead, and I know we're live, so people will join us. This is where we left off last night with me and McBride going through, trying to predict, putting ourselves in Brendan's shoes, trying to predict what the team might look like come the weekend in the aftermath of the Red Star game. Now, I did a full tactical analysis breakdown video on the channel already of Wednesday night, so if you want to get stuck into that, feel free. And me and McBride obviously chewed the fat over it as well, as came forward to preview the game that we're coming into this weekend. Whereas for today, it is full eyes on the weekend now at this point, where we're looking at the way the team's sitting, because there's a lot of, we kind of said it last night, there's a lot of meat on the bones. There's a lot of different moving parts in the squad all of a sudden. And the team, in terms of the pitch, tactics, and subs, all this stuff becomes extra interesting now at this stage. And we'll cover the press conference as well, which I had the joy of being in attendance for, as per usual. So it'll be kind of fun having me in a way coming through the press conference as well. We actually do have now a predicted team for Hibs coming into this. We didn't have it last night. We just had a suspected. This is predicted, a little bit different. In case any are interested in that, feel free to pause the screen and zoom in and all that good stuff. But yeah, I heard from Brendan today. I was at Lennoxtown, and guys, it was so cool. I've not been, I drove up to Lennoxtown one time. We got invited for a press conference, but it was actually at Celtic Park, and I went to the wrong place. I don't know why, but it was my first time ever being at Lennoxtown, and it was quality. Honestly, I was walking around the place the whole time thinking, imagine you worked here. And I'm sure for the people that work there, I'm sure it is, the fairy dust of it all kind of washes away quite quickly, I'm sure, once you're just doing like your job and all the rest of it. But it was so cool. It was nice weather. The sun was out, and in and around the premises, I've seen so much of the team as well, which was just cool, just cool, just being like right there, the guys what they're talking about and all the rest of it. So absolutely buzzing. And and I was in the Iheanacho interview as well. And honestly, it was the first thing I said the whole time I was there, was in the Iheanacho one, and my tongue just got pure fat. I felt like my face went white, and I ended up calling him his full name. I just felt like had to apologise to him afterwards. So I don't know if we fancy a giggle. I maybe in a self-conscious way want to see the Iheanacho one just to see how my questions came across, because I just think I made an absolute fumble of it. But I think for Brendan, do you know, like you guys will see his face, right? You guys tell me. Brendan loves the channel, doesn't he? Brendan loves the channel. Let's get stuck into it. This is going to be good crack, guys. Fist bumps, he's all on arrival, by the way. Too many of these to mention, but the live chat is flying away. Love to see you all here on a Friday. And I'm really glad we've got the new intro sorted. We get a bit more McBride in it, which is good. And it's a bit more chanty, which is kind of what I was originally after. We kind of rest on the Zombie Nation at the time. But I can't lie. See, for Friday, I might bring the Zombie Nation back, because I just love on a Friday getting hyped up for the weekend, thinking about the match, hearing from the manager, and sailing off into the sunset of the weekend, getting ready for the game, So I might bring that intro back. Any feedback, of course, is always welcome. But yeah, good to see you all. Let's get.
Brendan, it's back to league business after a couple of games and other competitions. What's the overriding feeling ahead of this weekend?
Yeah, well, it's on to the next game. I think we, as I said, we take a point and some positive.
So there wasn't. So again, it's the first time I've been there. I've been in a few of these press things. I've been very lucky to be invited to some cool places and all that. This room is tiny. Like, it is a tiny wee room. The backing is really cool. And I think like the front row is like Gordon Duncan, who's asking this one now, that your boy from Clyde One. The other guy from Clyde One that's not Gordon Duncan, I don't know his name. I'm really sorry, I've forgotten it. He was there, and then who else? There was 3 of them in the front row that were kind of like of that standing, I'm sure. Oh yeah, the other guy was from STV. He was like a producer guy that I'd met. I did a news spot actually a week ago or something, which was fun. And then another guy, but there was like 4 of them in the front row that were like the question guys. And then in the middle row, it was me and the guy. I'm sure he does the Celtic Star. I'm really, again, I do know his name, but I'm really sorry. Right now at this moment in time, it's just slipped out the back of my brain. I'm sure it's a Celtic Star. If it's not, it's a similar type of site the guy runs. I've met him. He's been at everything I've been at, to be honest with you. And then behind us, there was like maybe newspaper guys, I guess, because they left at one point when it was like media only or something. I don't know. So just to paint the picture a wee bit, in case any of that helps, it's a wee room, and there's like 13 people there, maybe 15.
Positives in the performance, and showed good spirit, resilience, and now we're back playing again. So yeah, the team's in good spirit.
I feel like the squad's getting better for all these different experiences. Obviously, the end of the window is a bit hectic, and maybe trying to get players up to speed and so on. Can you see that progression?
Yeah, I think now and going through, you start to find the rhythm, and of course, there's another international break soon. But I think now you start to play games.
And you know, this might sound like a really silly thing, right? But see, when he mentions that, in terms of like Gordon Duncan's asking him, just generally, where are we all? Where's everything at? And everything. The mentioning the now of the transfer window, this is something we were talking about on the content over the last week or two, is thinking about the block of games that we've had between international windows, because these two are quite closely, but follow each other quite closely. And it's like 7 games or something, 6 games. We've already done like 3. Maybe I think from Red Star, there's 5 games, I think, isn't there? And we had 2 before that, so 7, a 7-game block, as it were. And when you do think of it in that context, this weekend and Motherwell are games that really clearly jump off the calendar as games where you'll see different faces in the squad. So hearing him just having that in his mindset, psyche, whatever, I think gives a wee bit of credence to us thinking coming into the game that we might see some of that.
Games, and you start to use the squad more and everything else. So, but yeah, I think that, like I said, I think we showed great spirit the other night. It's not an easy place to go, and plenty of people will tell you that. But we went and found a way to get a result and make the first steps in the competition. And now players are starting to find their levels.
How are you finding the balance of your attack at the moment? Thinking of a few different guys, maybe at different levels of form and in different situations at the club. How satisfied or otherwise are you with the balance you've got?
Now, at this point, I'm sitting there, like, I know the kind of couple of things I want to ask him, and I'm like, oh crap, I want to ask him about the strikers.
On your front 3.
Well, I think that is it's a consequence of where we were, obviously from the summer. So we have to look to find it. It's not as natural maybe as what it was last year in some ways, but I think we can see opportunities there for like Kel's coming into the team, and I know he's a natural striker, and he can do really good things for us. So that's part of the challenge, of course, is filling the gaps maybe where we have some.
Because part of that puzzle, I suppose, would be Dyson, who had this brilliant season last season. You mentioned the other night he's maybe not at his best. With all the talk about him at the end of the window, how is he? Where is his head at? And you look at trying to fit him into the team at the moment.
Well, yeah. Well, I think
again, I thought this was a great question, and we get a lot of good stuff here about Dyson.
That is that is part of the management process, because you can't underestimate how difficult it's been for him. This is a guy who's given absolutely everything for this football club, and even sometimes when you want to give your best, there's a subconscious thing that can obviously hold you back a little bit. But what's important is, and like I say to any player in this situation, it's so important that you don't get caught up in this sort of mentality of it's not fair, because when you get caught in that, it's a very dangerous territory, and it's hard to move on from. So you have to really look forward, really do it for your teammates, do it for your family, do it for your supporters, and then eventually you get confidence back, and you start to get back to your normal self. So, but he's been an incredible player for this club, and I'm pretty sure over these coming weeks he'll get back to the form that he's shown. And and I can only talk from my couple of years here. He's been absolutely sensational. So he will get back to that. And but it is always a challenge. It's not a light bulb you just switch the flick on and off. It's this game's about emotions as well, and it can be challenging for players.
From what you know about his mindset, having worked with him for a good while, are you quite confident that he will be able to get past that period? You even look back to, I think you said maybe February that he'd intimated he maybe wanted to leave, but then from February onwards was probably his best form that he's had for Celtic.
Yeah. I think that, listen, you're going to have dips as a player, no matter, if he was here and committed for 4 or 5 years, for example, you can still have dips in your form. And I think with Dyson, it's always probably, it's very obvious just because of the level of work and intensity that he plays with. So, but I'm very confident that he will get back to the level. And like I say, I as a guy, he's a great person. Leaves everything out on the field. He's had this little issue around his ankle as well, which it hasn't helped. But he will continue to give absolutely everything.
Now, you've asked your questions at the perfect time here, because as Brendan mentions, he's had this wee problem with his ankle. There's another phrase he uses later in the press conference around another player. Stephen has also asked for no spoilers, so I guess we'll get to that when we get to that. But I think when you say that a player's got a wee knock, he felt his wee this or whatever, it's if you don't see them start this weekend, they're not dropped. We're just like managing and protecting and whatever. So I don't think Dyson starts at the weekend. This is the team that we had last night. I think Iheanacho's on to start this one. He did the press conference today. I think that kind of leans into it. Roger's mentioning that Maeda he's had a wee ankle thing that he's been carrying. I don't think Dyson's going to start this one. Karma's in the same kind of boat. I don't think it's no problem to take him out of the equation. But we get a lot of good Dyson stuff in this.
What type of challenge are you expecting from Hibs? They're maybe not in the form they would want to be in coming into this game.
Well, I think David's teams are well organised. Some good results, some indifferent results for them. But David showed last year in that point when they were suffering that his coaching ability and managerial ability to turn it around, and they end up having a great season. They're unfortunate in the European, work that they didn't qualify, but and sometimes it takes a little bit of time to come through that. But we still prepare for a tough game. They got good players, well coached, will make it difficult for us. And even last year we played really well at Celtic Park in the games, and but we still have to worked very hard to get the result.
It was revealed today that I think some sections of the support are planning a silent protest that will increase for the next 3 home games. Is that something that maybe concerns you about potentially the impact it could have on the pitch?
Well, I haven't seen that.
I believe him. I was there, and like you could tell that they'd all just like, don't know where they'd been, right? But you can tell that not long before him sitting with us, the players had just disbanded, you know, and were like leaving and getting ready to leave and all that kind of thing. So, he doesn't know anything about it
as of yet. So
at that point.
Yeah, listen, all I know, the uniqueness of Celtic as a football club is the supporters, and what makes them unique is the fanatical support that we get. So I can only hope that continues, because it really lifts this team, and it lifts myself, it lifts everyone involved with the team. So, but yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
Especially.
Guetta, I picked up on that as well. Guetta Grip here, thanks very much. Yeah, showing some love in the comment section earlier as well. I did think that, you know, the word unfair is interesting, isn't it? When you know, again, we're trying to read between the lines here with some of the words that are being used, etc., aren't we? But I do agree. My ears did lift at that, because you know, you can feel the remnants of a conversation that someone's had when he's talking about it in this way, you know. And you do, yeah, the word unfair is a funny one, you know. And then when he talks about like playing through it, I thought, you know, the word fair would then come back into it again, and it didn't. And then, you know, again, maybe you're reading too much into something, I don't know. But I did think that was an interesting choice of words, and I say maybe remnants of a conversation.
Especially for, you know, European games, you look to Braga next Thursday. That European atmosphere is something that really helps. You know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. It's a really special place. But I would say it for every game. Like, you know, you've seen away at Kilmarnock, the support that we had there was incredible, and it really pushed us and really helps us. So, yeah, European nights are special at Celtic Park, of course, but I would always go and say that wherever we travel, wherever we go, whether it's home or away, it's the Celtic support that makes this club.
You love to hear that from the manager, don't you? And let me know in the chat, what do you think about the silent protest? A bunchies are just tuning in now, by the way. Thanks to everyone in it that is. Did a real big explainer at the beginning of the stream. So if you are just joining now, please watch the beginning at some point, just to catch the beginning of it. At the very least, it does mean a lot. Thanks again to everyone that is tuning in. But let me know in the chat if you're here live and loud with us, or even in the comment section after we've been live. Thoughts and feelings on the silent protest. Of course, Celtic here is part of the band of Merry Men and all the rest of it, but I was kind of catching bits of it on my way to dealing with the missus and the kids in the car in the garage, and going to Lennoxtown and Deadline show on my main channel and all the other stuff that was going on this morning. So I didn't really get across it. I've kind of seen what it is and all the rest of it, but I do believe it's maybe a divided opinion on the path that is on. I don't know. So yeah, I don't really know how I feel about it. I think for Europe, like I mentioned it before with myself, Celtic Park, under the floodlights, Celtic fans that can go into that and force them and remain silent and hold their nerve that way, do they have more willpower than maybe some? I can't imagine. But like, and I'm a very annoying person to watch football with, right? I don't mind telling you that. If any of you have been anywhere near me in a game, you will know about it. Because I can't stop. See, since doing content as well, I'm extra conscious of it and try and like put a lid on it a bit more, but I can't help myself. So I just don't want people thinking, oh, there's that dick trying to look for attention or whatever. But it's just, I can't help myself. So anyway, when it comes to the Thursday night game, it will be very interesting how it all develops. You know, I'm even hearing, you know, little quiet whispers from people like, oh, I might just buy a ticket, you know, and stuff like that, which you're like, whoa, listen, calm down, Sally. You know, if you're saying that, there's a few other people, you know. So Europe is, it's the Europa League, isn't it? But it's in DNA, the Celtic fans. You can't put them into Celtic Park midweek under the floodlights. Maybe the anthem will kind of dispel people a little bit, because when the anthem comes on, you're expecting to hear the classical music, aren't you? I'm not going to do it. But when the Europa League one comes on, it kind of snaps you out of it. That's how I feel on Wednesday night anyway. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. That's kind of my take on a bit of it, I guess.
Playing 3 games or back to playing 3 games a week, Brendan, how does that affect your kind of work on the training pitch with the players time-wise?
Yeah, well, it just limits it, of course, in terms of the intensity of which you can work. Because, like you say, you play on Wednesday night, you travel back. Most of the squad and players would have got home about 5:30 in the morning, and then you're recovering the rest of Thursday. Then you're in today to recover and do some light bits of technical work. Go through the technical analysis in here with the players, and then you're straight into the game. So I think for a lot of us, and when you're at a big club, you have to get used to it. It's part of the challenge. It's the rhythm of games, recovery, play games, and then, like I say, it's where your squad comes into it.
Everybody okay from the other night?
Yes, yeah, we've got Rio was a.
It's always one of my favourite questions in the press conference, and this is where we get the next. If he doesn't start at the weekend, don't lose your shit over it.
As a question mark, but apart from that, yeah, we're virtually the same.
What's the issue with Rio?
Yeah, he felt a bit tight in his hamstring, so we just have to monitor that, and I'll find out this afternoon where he's at.
Obviously, we spoke.
So Rio, unlikely to start. I say Dyson, unlikely to start. If you look at the team we'd predicted, like that all might be true. I'm going to you could even imagine it's not true. These are rotations that made sense coming into the game anyway. And just even having that public, you're just maybe keeping a little bit of noise away from the two of them not starting at the weekend. So it's probably good tactics from the manager, I suppose. But the midfield is crying out for Engels to get a tune. I was going to ask him something about Engels. Someone asked in the live chat, did I ask him about and I was going to frame my question around the right wing, which we'll come to when it comes up, around getting minutes starring for a team. Could that be Yang? Was going to be my angle of approach. Kind of bottled it after the Iheanacho incident, and you'll see the way I went about it when it comes up.
Talking about the attack there before, how do you feel the midfield area, Brendan, and that part of the team, how that's functioning at the moment? And obviously, big guys there like Army and Paulo, who look probably as desperate to get in as well.
Yeah, and I think all those guys in midfield, there's a purpose why you carry so many at a club like this here, because you know that when you get into the thick of the games, you need all the energy, you need all the qualities and that ability to change the game if needed. So I think in the early part of the season, if you're playing one game a week, it can be tough. And then I said before that we're trying to find rhythm as a team. But all those guys will play a part, absolutely. And yeah, and then it's up to yourself to then take that opportunity when it comes. So, but yeah, we've got a good squad of players in there, and they'll all be used.
How are your injured players, Brendan?
It's a good squad of players in there, and they'll all be used.
Tony back?
Tony trained at the beginning of the week. He obviously travelled with us, and he's available for tomorrow. Austin had his first day back with the training group today. So we've got Ali Johnson. Yeah, Ali will be hopefully.
Now, I was at the training ground. Ali was there, clearly not training like everyone else was, but he was in the building. He was in the building. Maybe just say hi to the guys and all that, but he was on the premises.
Joining us soon, but clearly not ready yet.
How's it? We spoke about young Colby the other night and how well he did. Is he, even at this stage in his career, is he able to cope with that volume of games and played so quickly?
Well, yeah. I obviously have to keep an eye on it because he's obviously played 3 back-to-back games for me. But not only that, he was away, played 2 games internationally.
And that's not something I thought about, by the way. And like a 19-year-old. Should he? Oh, we still got AJ here. Sorry, I had to set this back up from this morning. It was Donovan we had last night. I beg your pardon. But when I heard him saying that, first thing I'm thinking is, again, he's setting up the boy not to start and it not to be a big deal or a problem or anything. Now, I'm not sure. I was actually going to check this out. Let's do it now, right? I'm not sure. He's definitely played before this little run of games. He's definitely come off the bench and stuff. But I'm not too sure. Like, the last 3 games he's played have been away from home, of course, Rugby Park, Maryhill, and then Serbia. So let's see, has he played at home? Scotland. Kyrat, Livingston. So he came off the bench at home to Livingston. Interesting. Al Ali. Newcastle doesn't count, does it? Did he appear last year? That's when I seen him. Not that game. But yeah, he didn't appear. Did he? I think he got on the bench in the first team last year at one point. But yeah, he's made 12 minutes of it. So I thought it would be quite harsh to not play him at Celtic Park this weekend. But when you hear him talking like that, it feels like Ralston's going to come in. Spoke about Ralston being fine and back and all the rest of it. Donovan, full of praise, but you guys are not maybe thinking about the Scotland trip that he's just had in. And if we do look at that quickly for a second, so since the 5th of September to today's the 26th, right? But let's just say the Red Star game, the 24th, he's played 5 games, 450 minutes. 450 minutes with a wee bit of travel for Scotland. Not really any travel for Celtic, right enough. Yeah, 450 minutes over 20 days. You could see him maybe being rested, I guess, on load management, but he is 19. He is a young whippersnapper. But I did get the sentiment from all of that Ralston maybe comes into this and you maybe give Donovan the game later off the bench. Or vice versa. Donovan starts, doesn't finish, you get Ralston off the bench. But I did think this is maybe if Donovan doesn't start, don't free. But I think Brendan would play him at home for the symbolism, if nothing else.
So he's played 5 games in a really short period of time, and of course now the intensity of games has gone up. So yeah, I clearly have to manage that for him. But he's a great boy. He's a tough kid, and so pleased for him because you give him that opportunity, and be easy not to have played him. But this is where young careers, you can make your career in games like that there. And I think he showed what we all know here as staff, and that he's got big personality, and he was just like a duck to water, really, just straight in and got on with it. So thankfully he doesn't overthink things. He just plays football, and probably the dangerous start when he does think too much.
I missed that joke because I was thinking too much at the time. Can he see Ralston? Yeah, I think at the end, again, this is exactly how I felt at the time. He kind of then does talk himself off the ledge that he's just saying he does need to manage it. I think the Motherwell game next weekend would be maybe a better reintroduction of Ralston from the start. I think he could play this game and then get subbed off for Ralston, start Braga. So I think Donovan starts Braga on form, So I think he'll probably start as well. I'm kind of on the fence.
Is this where your experience as a manager comes in? Managing young boys might be easy to keep playing them, but when you talk about the intensity of these games, sometimes you do have to give them a break, and then.
Yeah. There's absolutely no doubt. There's it is all a part of the management of the individual player. When you're robust and playing season after season, you're used to that. Then you have the rhythm of it. But when you're not, and especially for him on the back of the couple of internationals he's played, so it's a lot of game time, and especially coming out of the first team, all the anxieties, all the intensities that come with games like that. But he's coped very, very well. But we've also got Tony back now as well in there. But I think we've gained a player in that period, and that was always the thinking of not putting him out on loan. If we could keep him and then find a way to get him playing, and he's came through it with flying colours, really. So still a lot of work for him to do, and but really pleased, and we have to try and manage him for sure.
I wonder what.
See if he hadn't. Where was the comment I wanted to bring up? Sorry. Oh yeah, this one from Rubber Duck. See if he was just like okay. I would maybe agree with that. Bring Ralston in, maybe lift the standard for him, see if he can rise to it some way. But I think Donovan is setting his own bar in this kind of regard. So I kind of get where you're coming from, but I think if he's really going above and beyond, I think. And for a right back, it's not as tangible above and beyond as it is for a striker who scores goals and stuff. But I think we can all see it, and that's why he's getting so much praise. Like he really does. Duck to water, Rubber Duck. There's a bit of a vibe here with Kobe Donovan, isn't there? So, yeah, I think if he starts against Hibs, yeah, I can't really see. I think Yeah, Ralston could start Motherwell, not Hibs.
For what role does Kieran Tierney, as someone who walked that walk at a young age as a Celtic player, how does he help Colby with the demands of being a Celtic player?
Well, I think all the players here they're wonderful role models. I think if you look at every single one of them, they've come through the system here at Celtic, you know, from Callum, from James, from Kieran, Tony Ralston. Like I said, he likes, well, she's now at Motherwell, but he's a player here. All those boys that have come through the system, they've always been great with those younger guys that step up and come in, because they know the burden you carry being a homegrown player playing for Celtic, how special it is. But of course, the eyes are really on you. So they help the young guys. They help the young guys ensure that the humility is held here, that you never get too carried away with yourself, which is always important. And but thankfully, they have a good education in the academy, and if they break through to the first team, they know the values that's needed and required to play for Celtic. And thankfully, young Colby seems to have those.
It was another big moment for Kelechi midweek as well, Brendan. You must be delighted with the impact he's made, you know, so early into his Celtic career.
Yeah, and he's only going to get better. That's because
What? 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 What?
because I know the player and I know how good he can be and how good he was for me. So, yeah, delighted for him, because obviously it was when he came in, I think normally just because of the timing probably of his arrival and everything that surrounded our window, it maybe wasn't maybe so accepting for him to be in. But there's absolutely no doubt of all the players and lists that came to me that actually was available, he was absolutely the standout player. And I know his talent, and I know how big a player he can be. And
now, I'm sure this is true, right? To some regards, like, because Brendan Rodgers probably didn't know the other guys on the list, like, as well as, you know, having worked with Iheanacho, etc. He might know who they were or whatever. Fine, but he is kind of telling a truth there, isn't he? That is what it is. The thing with Iheanacho, and I don't think, you know, the fat stuff is kind of whatever, really, isn't it? I think after everyone's seen the Manchester and little training video thing, that was all kind of quashed, wasn't it? It was in good nick, and we've had a good player arrive. But it was just the pantomime of he's cancelled his contract, free transfer, we didn't sign anyone. Oh, look at us pulling out Brendan's, what do you call it? The Rolodex, the phone book again to save the day. And, you know, like, again, when you see he is still the right side of 30, he's never really going to be a bad transfer. A player I often highlight when we're talking about transfers working out is Scott Sinclair. Like, Scott Sinclair was nowhere near anything in the Premier League when he came to us, and he was Player of the Year on arrival. So, Iheanacho, like, on this channel, certainly we've always been quite, like, he's going to score goals, same as what Brendan keeps iterating. But it's just how good can he get to, and will the rest of the team be able to, you know, will he gel, will he blend in? And it does feel like it already he's hit the ground running in that way.
And now he's starting to settle into the squad and the group, and he'll show that during his time here.
The fans were chanting his name as well in Belgrade. That must be a big moment for him as well.
It's a really big one, that one. It's a really big one, that one. And but again, it's his performance, his endeavour. The Celtic support will love him. Come the end of the season, they'll be won over by his humility, his hard work, and his quality on the field, because he's a goal scorer. He will get goals, all different types of goals, and he'll give everything. So really pleased for him. It was a wonderful finish. He could have maybe had another one, but he's like that in every game. He looks like he's always going to score.
You also had him before at Leicester, made a really good season under, especially. Brendan, what is it about him that he needs as a player to get kind of the best performances out of him? Because he's obviously had a wee kind of fallow period in his career.
Yeah, I just think obviously when he was playing at Leicester, he was playing a secondary role virtually all the time to Jamie, and obviously Jamie was an incredible player for Leicester. So that was always a challenge. And if you play in a 4-3-3, then you're never really playing with two strikers up there unless you're change in the game. Or what I did for a spell was I played a different system, of which he was playing up there with someone else. But any time he had to produce and come in, he was excellent. So, and it's like with any player, you need to feel the trust of the coach or manager. You need to feel you're part of an environment and really inclusive of everyone. And then your confidence grows from that. And that's what it is, like, and especially strikers, the confidence players. So I can see that growing with him. He's come back. He's come to here, physically in a really, really good place. His body fats, everything is, be one of the lowest in our squad. So he's in a really good way physically.
One of the lowest in the squad. Now, I was thinking about this when I was sitting there, like, waiting for him to come into the room. Like, La Liga, I watch a lot of La Liga. La Liga is a tough league. It is unforgiving. And I know he didn't play that much there and wasn't there that long. And obviously it wasn't a mad success there, but I was thinking, like, I always remember Mesut Ozil moving to Arsenal. I don't know how many of you will remember this or care, right? But if you remember Ozil at Real Madrid and all the rest of it, Champions League, it was amazing, right? Ronaldo's best pal. Ronaldo still talks about how amazing Ozil was, and Ozil made him look good and whatever at times. But when he went to Arsenal, Ozil, he was still a Real Madrid player in body and mind, if you get me. And when he first arrived at Arsenal, you seen that on the pitch. Probably same you could say about Alexis Sanchez, Barcelona to Arsenal. And then as time went on, that body and mind Real Madrid player over time became a body and mind Arsenal player. And then with the amount of money he was on, it became a bit of a pantomime, didn't it? But anyway, point being, I've always kind of thought off the back of that, like when players do move from like just a higher level to a lower level, like Real Madrid to Arsenal, or Seville to Celtic in terms of La Liga to SPFL, whatever you want to think of it as, that carries them for a bit in terms of the level they've came at. They're normal before the new place normal kind of kicks in some ways. So I was just sitting there wondering about that before Iheanacho came in. So I wonder, like, obviously he's played Premier League, which in a lot of ways is like the top end, and that's where his kind of life and his standards have been set to this point in his career. But La Liga is a bit harder, like it's closer to Scotland and England in some ways, So I was thinking, I wonder how that's kind of set him up for that as well, because Scotland is the way teams defend and how difficult it can be to get space and all the rest of it. Scotland and Spain have a lot of similarities in that way. It's just that in Spain it's a lot hotter. There is a lot more, like, the refs can be wild against Real Madrid and Barca, but outside of that, the refs are they don't care. they're quite fine, aren't they? But here it's obviously a bit different, especially if you play for Celtic. The refs are not going to be helping you out at all, if anything, working against you. And they don't, and that means people get away with fouls that they shouldn't, and bookings don't happen that should, and other stuff. So, bit of a tangent, sorry, but Iheanacho, there you go. Let's hear from Brendan.
It's just catching up on game time, and he can be a big asset for us.
Had a lot of plates to spin, Brendan, with all the players coming in after the January transfer window. Were brought in. Oh, who's this dick? Right, we missed the beginning of his question. Sorry, but yeah, you know what I'm saying, River. Come on, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I thought this is my time to strike. Now you guys tell me, right? You guys tell me. Brendan, does he clock me?
And he can be a big asset for us.
Had a lot of plates to spin, Brendan, with all the players coming in after the January transfer window. I thought I got a one. Let me know what you think. We brought in a couple of left wingers, Quinny, Balqueisha. We brought in a lot of strikers, also Kelechi and Iheanacho. With the last two games, we've had Yang starting on the right hand side, with James coming in as well. Is that the kind of plan for the squad between now and January? Is, like she said last week, that Dyson will be playing left or centre, Balqueisha won't go back to the right? Is it just we're running with Yang and Forrest in the right wing for now, or is there any other ideas?
No, I think we have options. I think Dyson can play there. Was so happy he gave me like actual something, because I'm kind of asking him, like, who are you going to play on the right wing for the rest of the season? You know what I mean? So really happy he gave me something and didn't shut me down or gave me like a palm off answer in any way. I
I was thinking about this question so much. Gordon Duncan did ask about forwards right at the beginning, and he got some stuff out of him. So I'm then thinking I need to be quite particular with what I'm asking now, because I don't want to get the same answer again or wind them up or whatever. And I do know what I want to know as well. So I've asked him a few questions. I've been at 3 or 4 press conferences now, and my questions do have a lot of words in them. I'm really sorry, but yeah. So I'm really glad he said Dyson can, because I did say to him last week, he said Balqueisha, Dyson are on the left, but Dyson can play right.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think in my time here, like, and when I used to watch from the outside, he would have played on the right, and Jota would have played off the left. Sometimes it was Abada that played off the right. So I think I can use that as a possibility for sure. I think where he's played most of his career for Celtic has either been on the left side or through the middle. But naturally, on the sides is probably where he's best. So I wouldn't rule that out. It was an area, of course, we wanted to reinforce. We weren't able to do it, and I have to try and manage and find a way to juggle the balance in the team to still make as penetrative and as attacking as we possibly can. So that's what I'm looking at.
Now, I don't know why. I don't know where the copper chat's coming from. No, I'm not a copper. No. Oh, thank you very much, AJC. And the love in the chat is absolutely brilliant. But somebody just put, he does respect a technical football question. Change a captain? I don't really think that's needed, man. I think the stuff with McGregor is a little bit overblown. I think, like, if you do, like, walk forward a few transfer windows, see if we can get someone to bodyguard McGregor. If we can give McGregor Hitate shift, a lot of things will change quite quickly. McGregor's still the man. He's kind of get brainwashed into some passes that he just shouldn't be making. And, like, yeah, he just doesn't help himself in some ways, I think, in that sense, you know. But yeah, oh, it was River Sea, wasn't it? Yeah. So so for Europe, having Maeda as a first choice right winger with Yang and Forrest in and behind is way better for the Europa League matches we've got coming up, rather than Yang or Forrest. End of story. Then the Negren thing, I didn't ask Negren in the question. I thought about it for the second question, which you'll hear in a second, but I decided to see it. I didn't want to say I didn't want to be the bad fan media that tries to be the manager from. You know, I didn't want to talk to him about box midfields and Ben Negren and all that stuff, you know. So I stayed away from it. He looks happy to see me. I can't lie.
Balance in the team to still make as penetrative and as attacking as we possibly can. So that's what I'm looking at.
I think out of all the signings we made this summer, there's a lot of fan expectation around Balqueisha with him being a long-term target. He's made some flash appearances so far without really nailing himself into the starting 11. What do you think is the key to getting him connected to the rest of the squad, to get him the most out of him?
Just time. I think
Again, I loved it. I was kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, I did brick myself a wee bit that he just said it's time, full stop. You know, like, I know he didn't say the word full stop, but you heard the punctuation there, didn't you? But yeah, I wanted to know a bit more about Balqueisha, like, because he's ruled him out for playing on the right. He's clearly very different to Tuneki on the left. He clearly really likes Tuneki on the left. You can imagine it being Tuneki and Jota vying it out for that left wing. They've been very similar, you know. Oh, I don't know. Sorry. I've got lost with a few of the comments. Sorry, I wanted to pick up on them there. But first of all, Matthew Barry, thank you very much for the super chat. It really does mean a lot. But he goes on to elaborate, gives me a great one, and then I give him a wee thumbs up when he's done his duty to me at the end.
Sebastian's come in and just been fantastic. So sometimes that shines the torch on other players, and everyone thinks that everyone should be like that. It's not always the case. I think that some people come in and hit the ground running, and it's great. I think that for Ballet, I don't think there's any doubt over time he'll prove his worth and show that. But yeah, I always say it's really difficult to see at the biggest clubs. See if they judge players in that first year. It's so hard. You come into the demands of a club like this here, the personality that's needed. And you just hope that over time you would love them all to just come in and hit the ground running and but there's so much that goes on to a move. And but like I say, we know his talent. He was scouted for a long time. There's enough evidence there and a great body of evidence by our recruitment team to show that he's a really gifted and talented player. So so in time, I'm pretty sure he will show that.
Brendan,
Great answer. Loved it. And thanks again for all the support, guys. Another super chat from Sunnyboy78. I'll put that up on screen in a second, but thank you very much. Now, yeah, again, I was thinking to ask about Tuneki playing on the right. But I just wanted to say, is it Yang or Forrest, and see what he gave me back, essentially. Again, he's not added them into the conversation. He was the one that added Dyson into the conversation around. Well, I said him, you said last week, Brendan, he's only going to play on the left. And he went, well, actually, I've maybe changed my mind a wee bit. So, and yeah, Sunnyboy70, again, thank you very much for the super chat. Mad love. Thanks for the support. And if you are just catching us now, there's a bunch of you tuned in that weren't here at the start. Before you go, or later on today, whatever, watch the start of the stream just to get the lowdown, the skinny of the content here on the Friday nights and all that good stuff. But thanks to everyone that's tuning in. Smash the like button if you're enjoying it, of course, as well. And I got to ask Brendan 2 questions. We could see Dyson move back to the right-hand side when he's got over this little ankle kick that and you know, I was also thinking about maybe bringing the joke that me and McBride had last night about bringing Yang's bird to Celtic Park, just give her a job doing anything, you know. But I thought, no, I better not step over that line too early. But yeah, I do think this is probably going to be the team ahead of the weekend. It could be Forrest for Yang. Like, you know, I think that's quite interchangeable really at this point. But otherwise, this does feel like, it feels like Sriracha plays this game, doesn't it? And Carter Vickers, I don't think, somebody said to me he wasn't pictured in training. Vickers was in the building. I can tell you that for sure. He was definitely there. And yeah, that's just good to see for future development. I guess if this is the team I've got here, but if we look at the depth, so if we're now thinking between now and January that we could just move Maeda over here, and then we've got a bit of a, I guess Yang's kind of floating in between, but you probably leave Yang over here, don't you? He's not going to get minutes off Balqueisha or Tuneki the way things are going over there now. Then, yeah, that could, you know, we can get by, you know, can't we? You know, we can make things work. Things have been worse. And Balqueisha time, which is brilliant, you know. What I was wondering with that, or, you know, what could have been something else, he said, I was worried about finding him a place in the team, position, or, you know, he could have said a few different things, I thought. So just flat out, just time. Like, give it a couple of weeks, it'll be cool, you know. Like, I really like that answer personally. Yeah, I agree with you, Riversea. You didn't mention it. Maybe.
when you talked about putting the summer behind us and moving forward, looking forward to the season, that's what the supporters want to do as well. And the only thing stopping that is communication with the club. We can't understand why the club can't come forward and speak to the supporters who put more money into the club every year than any of the sponsors behind you.
Yeah, and I think that is something that I'm pretty sure the board and the executive team are looking at in terms of ways to better communicate with supporters. So I haven't obviously spoken to the guys today or yesterday, but I know that coming out of the window, that was one of the key objectives, was in order to engage more and obviously speak more with supporters. So I'm pretty sure.
First of all, huge shout out AJC Tech. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the super chat as well. Roger should hire you as a scout. I would love that. No, that wasn't Jim, or that was the guy I said in the intro. I think he does like the Celtic Star or something like that. He's like a journalist guy. I don't think is he James Forrest? I don't know. I know there's a James Forrest guy that's like a older journalist type figure. I've maybe met him. I'm not sure. I might be getting people all wrong, but it's like the Celtic Star or Celtic Blog, or I don't know. I don't think it's James Forrest. I think I've got that totally wrong, but it's somebody like that. It's like an old Celtic. It's like fan media journal type guy. Very nice.
Sure, in time that will be the case, because as I said, in the modern life and modern world, communication is absolutely vital.
Celtic Star
can stabilize lots of things in life, having that clarity. And sometimes you have to be harsh to be clear, but you're better being harsh and communicate than not say anything. Absolutely. So I think it's definitely something the club are looking into, looking how that sort of the comms aspect can improve relations, because there's absolutely no doubt that that's what supporters want. And like we say, we as the managers and executive boards, we're looking after the team and the club for you guys.
And on
I kind of knew that was wrong right away. I felt that in it as soon as I said it, but I was just trying to. It's just one of those guys. I couldn't remember which one, but Celtic here in the building in the live chat. Love it. Thanks very much, Craig. David Fald's confirmed. And just quickly, O's performance. I think he did look that lean, but again, a big part of it is like the Belgian system is just totally different. It's like there's so much less pressure on playing every week, and yeah, it's just a different kettle of fish, man. I think the Celtic experience has set all up in a big way, but I said this before with like John McGinn. Like John McGinn doesn't become who we know him as today if he signs for Celtic and not Aston Villa. Like, I'm sure he would be great for us. I'm sure he'd have done great, but would he have got to the level he's got to in terms of, like, if you think about him maxing out his inherent potential? So, you can maybe say the same. That's why Lennon Miller chose to go to Italy, that kind of vibe, So I think, like, depending on the play style and a few other elements, there is like a limit to how good you can become at Celtic before it's not even necessarily a better environment in the case of Genk here, but it's just different, And if you ever watch, like, Belgian football is a bit like this, right? But especially Austrian football, it's got a real vibe of like university football about it, So, and I don't really know what that means out loud, but if you watch it, it's got that kind of feel to it of there's not really much jeopardy on the line. It's supported, but it's not like, I don't know, maybe characterizing it quite poorly, but that's just what comes through the cameras to me. Belgium has got a bit more sporting intensity to it, and it's a very competitive league, as we know. But I think the only thing O could have got more of was minutes, and that's why I was going to try and put O into the right wing question and say, like, is O a good shining example, a good example of what Yang could do if he started to get more minutes? Because that's really the only difference between O at Genk and O at Celtic, is O was the number one sub striker all season last year, and then this year he's number one striker. It's the only difference, really. He's not playing at a higher level. He's not got better players around him. Yada yada. Stephen Kennedy, legend, guys. By the way, thanks so much for all the super chats today. Campus football, yeah, yeah, that's it. If you watch Austrian football, I'm not saying watch it and study it or anything, but even if you get the chance to turn it on for like 15 seconds, you maybe get a flavour of what I'm kind of talking about there, and that's a good way of putting it. 420. Oh, 420. I went somewhere and I seen a Celtic sticker that I thought it was like 420 somewhere, is what it said. And it was like a Celtic. Where the hell was I? Took a picture of it. I'll bring it up on a stream, not today, but the next one we do or something.
Looking forward, has there been anything discussed so far about changes that are going to be made for the January transfer window so that we can avoid similar dramas this summer in that window?
Yeah, I really hope so. I think that at this moment in time, for me, it's the scouting team know exactly what we're after and what we missed out on in the summer market. So again, a lot of work going on into that. It's a smaller window, of course, so you have to be slick. You have to be prepared and ready, and look to get the business done as early as we possibly can. So I'd be hopeful that we could learn from that and hopefully close that out better in the January window.
Anything on your new contract?
Nothing as of yet, no.
I love that question right at the end, and I've got to pass my apologies. I have had a little bit of apologies. A wee bit of the language has got away from me. So apologies for that. And yeah, nice wee question right at the end there from Celtic Star. Any more on the contract? I love that. And no, not yet. So good to see, good to hear. A few questions coming in, like thoughts on Donovan's performances. I think Donovan, I'm with you here. Like, Ralston doesn't get back in to the team on like he is better than Donovan, chat. I think right now it's Donovan's shirt to lose, really, at this point. And I do think this weekend we will see Donovan start, and maybe Ralston comes off the bench. the same thing against Braga, and then maybe Ralston will start against Motherwell, just because Donovan will need a wee bit of load management. And no, not just like 420 stickers, but like they looked like actual like Celtic ones. It was the same looking thing. I'll find the picture of it for next time. No, I didn't. I could have, but I could have. But I didn't. No, I would not cross that line. I wouldn't be that uncouth. There's over 100 of you joining us live and loud. I really appreciate everyone that's tuned in today. There was a big intro on this video, so if you are just tuning in now, make sure to catch the intro before you get off to the weekend, or later on, you've got some time to kill. Maybe just catch the first 5-10 minutes of the show today. But we've been mainly going through the press conferences for the last couple of weeks. And it was nice to be invited to this one as well. Celtic love the content here at the channel. Brendan Rogers is a subscriber. He's in the chat. And love to see it. All the support from the guys in the chat as well on this one. I think the predicted team that we had, I don't think I had it saved. So, I'll need to just go and swap them around again a bit. But I think we've pretty much nailed what we're going to see for this weekend with the same front three that started against Partick Thistle, I think. And we get Engels in for Rio. And I think Sriracha comes in for Tierney. Otherwise, I think it's as you were. What is Sriracha? Against the Hibees. And I'm really looking forward to seeing an Engels in the Gren midfield if this is the way we go. I think this could be cheat codes. Some of these are talking about Hatate needs to spend a little bit of time on the bench, or the midfield needs shaking up. There was some questions in the press conference specifically around that topic. And I think this might click together and you might go, that solves a lot of problems really quickly. I'm rather hopeful of it. I think the inclusion of Iheanacho makes it a lot more likely to be successful. Whether it's Yang or Forrest on the right wing, I don't think there's much of a thing, because it's all going to be focused down the left with Taneke. And Sriracha, he's going to be buzzing playing at Celtic Park, as well for him, if he gets to start here on the left-hand side. So I think it could be a really good performance, a really good game for us. I would maybe not rule out Vickers for Murray, but again, that could be more of a Motherwell thing rather than a Hibs thing, I think. But I wouldn't entirely rule it out, because Vickers does need protected. Riversea's actually just said that at the same time. I think that's maybe the only, could a random thing happen still? That's maybe it. And with Hatate having a hamstring injury, I'm not a big fan of hamstrings. Riversea isn't either. I think it is just manager speak, but he's not going to be in the team at the weekend, and don't freak out about it. If Engels starts, McCowan is going to get an increase in minutes, and you're probably going to see Bernardo get an increase in minutes in this game. If Sriracha starts, I could see Tierney finishing. Could see Sriracha getting 90 minutes as well. And we're talking about Ralston, Donovan. So then, Ralston, Donovan, I think could happen. Tierney, Sriracha, maybe not. But then we're looking at 1, 2. These are the 3 main subs. And then we've still got Forrest for Yang, probably. Balqueisha for Taneke. And then there's a sub missing who you'd expect to see at the weekend. Could it be Johnny Kenny for Iheanacho if Dyson's given the weekend off? Imagine he says to Dyson and Hatate, just chill out this weekend. I've given you the excuse. You've got a sick note. Go enjoy the time with your family. Could you get Kenny off the bench? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Otherwise, a Simpson Pussy, a Dane Murray could be a bit of a surprise inclusion. Maybe even you just do get Tierney off the bench, and that's the way it goes. Iheanacho gets 90. I don't think Iheanacho will get 90, just with his kind of road to being first team ready, just for where it's at right now. But it's quite a strong match day squad you've got there. Good options to change the team up to keep the pressure on. Kenny and Shin need some game time by now. I would kind of agree with that as well. AJ will go in January. I think Alistair Johnson alongside Dyson, obviously, but I think they're the 2 most sellable assets in the squad in terms of just market value. Yeah, I thought he did quite well in Red Star. He did give us that real Uruguayan left back feel, didn't he? So, yeah, and I think I went with I think the clean sheet's still a big feature of our game this year. I don't think Hibs will be taken lightly by Rodgers, which is why I think CCV is going to start this one. I think we get a clean sheet again in this game. After hearing from Rodgers, I feel it and being there. I feel that everyone's in quite a good spot. And three Scots in defence. Scales is Irish, bud. Or if we had Tierney and Murray or something like that. Yeah. We could see that. Kenny has shown nothing yet. I would maybe disagree with that. I'd maybe disagree with that. Maeda on free Nacho could happen. That's probably the safest thing that's going to happen here, isn't it? But see, at the end of the day, see if Maeda and Hatate got the weekend off. I think that's probably the best thing. Really, like, I know we need to still keep pace top of the table. Hearts are not to be written off, as we know. And like, we need to stop thinking about Rangers as being our challengers to the title this year. Because if we're being honest with ourselves, that's just not the case. Now, after a derby result, that can change. You know, it is quite fickle the way the table sits in Scotland. But let's be honest, Rangers are not the benchmark this year. Hearts are. Aberdeen threatened to do that. Was it last year? But I don't think any of us really took it seriously. Hearts is worth taking seriously. I was listening to McInnes on the warm-up or one of those William Hill podcasts or Premier Sports or whatever. And he was talking about boys that they've signed already for January. He was talking about boys that have signed, their record signing isn't fit yet. Hearts are only going to get better as the year goes on. The whole, like, they're going to fade away or run out of steam, that's not happening, you know? So we're neck and neck with them. When do we play them? I don't think it's too far away. After the break. So the break happens after the Motherwell game. We come back to play Dundee, Strumt Graz, Hearts. Yeah, not too far away. Yeah, exactly. First thing I said, they don't play European football. That is a huge difference to the... Normally the good teams in the league, the team that might do something, have something else on their plate, you know. And of course, there's the link again to the Substack. So thanks very much, Craigie Boy, for joining that for me. I don't know if you put it in the description, but I'll just copy and paste it in there now. So thanks. Anyone that wants to join the Substack, it's £1 a week, £4 a month. It's less than the super chats you guys have done here, and you get a full month of content over there. Everything that we do on the YouTube channel goes over there ad-free. And of course, you get access to all the articles and everything on the site as well. Are you allowed to do that? Yeah, they've seen the guy from Kazakhstan. I can't remember his name now, but his season ends in November and he will be training with Hearts after he gets like his off-season month off or whatever. So yeah, you can, believe it or not, spread the word. I hope Brendan's still listening. You can sign players right now that you won't get until January. That can be done. Nah, it won't happen, Stephen. The fall away thing won't happen. Will they drop points? Of course they will, you know, like, because like, are they undefeated? They're not going to finish the season undefeated. Of course they're going to drop points, but the falling away thing isn't going to happen. Hearts have been my pick for second before a ball was kicked, and I think they're locked in now. Like, Rangers are not... Rangers still have Thursday Night Football to wrestle with. Never mind cups. They've got us in a semi-final, which is just going to destroy them morally. You've got to think, you know, if we pump them, which, you know, like, are we really in a position to be pumping them? Probably not, but we could get to a good place way quicker than them. We actually have like some proper talent in the squad, and I think that could be the difference, really. I don't know if it's a guy from Kairat. It might be. Muntial. Again, if we got him cheap enough, I wouldn't mind it, right? But it's when we were linked to Muntial for like 9 to 12 million euros, it's like, nah, like, we're spending 9 to 12. We're going shopping in proper markets. If you're buying from that league, you're paying under 6. This is different, mate. Honestly, totally different. Totally different. They've not even really hit their straps yet. If we, I was going to save this for a video that maybe come out next week or the week after. But if we just have a quick peek, right, at the overview, kind of thing, a lot of injuries in defence that might be. But Agu, their record signing, and if you hear McInnes talk about this guy's going to be good for them. There's no two ways about it. He will be totally better, in McInnes' opinion, than any other midfielder they have. So you've got him to add into it. And then this guy Kabungu was their best striker last year. He's played twice. This Kabore, all these big signings haven't really come in for much of a game yet. Never mind the guys that are kicking off. And they've got more signings lined up for January. And the goalkeepers, they've just signed Schwallow, who's like a Bundesliga to Bundesliga 2 level goalkeeper. This guy, by all rights, is the second best keeper in the league. Clean sheet against them at Ibrox to prove it. It was a backup keeper in the Bundesliga for the most part, right? Fine. But honestly, like, don't sleep on Hearts. Don't keep Rangers in your head as who we are. Oh, as long as we're ahead of Rangers, we're winning the league. That's not, it's Hearts. As long as we're ahead of Hearts, we're winning the league. That's the way to think about it this year. But yeah. Exactly. Perfectly summed up, Irishman. Thanks very much for the contribution into the live chat. Really appreciate it. River C was definitely saying it in an ironic way, like, because we just never do it. But again, very well put. Irishman in Porto 2002. Love it. Magic. Chesnikov. I can just hear Derek McInnes's Chesnikov. He fancies him to be as good as Braga, who's been pretty headline worthy so far, hasn't he? So honestly, like, we can still talk about Rangers. We want to have fun and a laugh and a joke and whatever, but they're not in the picture. They've not been in the picture since the 27th of May, because that's when I said Hearts are finishing second. Now, guys, as I look at this, there's 66 likes. The first goal we've got to get to is 67. Then we're looking to smash 88. And once we get smashed through 100 and we're racing towards 250 plus, we're going to have a great weekend and we're going to smash Hibs at the weekend. I think we're going to win this 3-0. I'm pretty sure that was my score prediction last night. Clean sheet for the boys. And I can get Iheanacho scoring a goal. I could easily see an unexpected guy, maybe like an Engels or something like that. I really hope Engels has a big match this weekend. And yeah, I 3-0 to the Hoops for me. It might not be like a really big 3-0. It might be like 1-0 first half, and then maybe like we score 2 right at the end or something. I don't know. But let me know your score predictions down below if you've not done it already on the preview show that happened last night, which is the main place to leave your score predictions as well. But if you are just joining us, please catch the intro of the show just to get up to speed with, you know, this stream on a Friday and everything else that's going on at Towers Celtic here. Thanks to everyone that tuned in live. Thanks to everyone that's tuning in after we've been live. Heroes, legends, everyone is. And yeah, 3 o'clock tomorrow. We'll be sailing the high seas. I've not got a ticket for it myself, but I'll be watching the game tomorrow and we'll be recording a breakdown as soon as the final whistle is blown. And we've heard from Brendan Rodgers. I always like to hear from Brendan post-match before we record the post-match. And then the video will probably come out Sunday. It could come out Saturday night. On occasions, it has come out on a Monday, but it'll be out as soon as it possibly can be. Thanks again to everyone. Thanks for all the support with the press conference stuff this week. It really does mean a lot. Huge shout out to everyone with the super chats. Thanks to everyone that supports us on Substack as well. Massive shout out to you all. Have a great weekend. Hail, hail, and Mon the Hoops.